everybody, welcome to a new video. I am on stream right now on twitch.tv/nickisnotgreen, and we are going to look at a Reddit post on Am I the Asshole? A classic here on the channel. Am I the asshole for encouraging good grammar for my wife? He says, please excuse grammar or spelling mistakes as I type this on my phone. That would be pretty ironic. To preface, I grew up in a southern state, and so was the constant butt of every education and redneck jokes. My wife had the same upbringing. I love her very much, but can feel our paths diverging. Let me explain how. We like to consider ourselves as more educated than other members of the home state. We both have high-paying jobs at the same company, same department, think big tech companies, and a nice house. Already, like, a healthy dose of, like, classism on the top of this, like, shit sandwich, which is, just the fact to be like, my wife and I are smarter than most people in this. Like, you're playing into the stereotype that, like, people from the South are naturally, like, dumb and idiotic. We've made friends with coworkers in our new state who do not share our redneck accents. I have been able to mask my accent well and use proper grammar most of the time. I tell our new friends that we are from California and moved for the job. Listen, I also, like, having a Southern accent is not indicative of your education or what you know. And if your wife is smart and educated as you're saying that both of you are, then you should not be changing your own culture in the way that you talk in your vernacular just for the sake of appealing to other people, because you don't see it as, like, high class and you see it as, like, redneck and dirty and, like, gross. I tell our new friends that we're from California and moved for the job, so you lied. Yeah, that is, like, a big, telling your coworkers that you moved from somewhere else is a bad start. Yeah, it just, like, outside of actual places where it, like, specifically applies and matters, you just come off as an asshole. Like, the ableist thing, I don't really know where my stance is on that. I think it depends. I think it depends on the situation, especially with, like, people of color who are constantly, like, told that they're not speaking the right way. My wife, however, has not had as much success with hiding her accent. She constantly says good instead of well. Dude, shut the fuck up. You're an adult. Who cares? For people who are watching this, there's plenty of people who will probably do the thing where someone's like, yeah, I'm doing good, and someone goes, well. Stop doing that. It's not cool anymore. I know you used to do it in high school when you learned that, like, how to correctly use the word, but you just come off as annoying and weird when you do it in real life. My wife, however, has not had as much success with hiding her accent. She constantly says good instead of well, and is even starting to grate my ears whenever I hear her say it. She also says y'all and howdy decently often. Oh, I wonder why, man. Maybe it's because you're from the South and those are words you use in the South. She even let out a darn tootin' when in conversation with our VP at dinner the other night, and I almost died. If you don't like your wife, divorce her. If you don't like her, that's how she is. That's who she is. That's a part of her character. She said, gosh darn tootin'. That's cool. No one's gonna be like, really? And if they do, then fuck them. What a horrible, horrible person. This is, like, such a loser of a man. The VP didn't make any more jokes after that, and the rest of dinner was very awkward. The other night, I read her diary while she was in the restroom with a bunch of food poisoning. Is this even real? What is going on? This is, like, the worst husband of all time. The other night, I read her diary when she was in the restroom with a bunch of food poisoning. I found her Reddit account information. I know I shouldn't be the one to correct her on her grammar, as I don't want to drive a wedge between us. Instead, I created several throwaway accounts and followed her profile to read her comments. This has to be fake. Like, there's no way. I say things like, wow, you must have been born in our home state because your English is about as bad as your state's education system. And other comments like, you won't get too far sounding like a hick. This guy is, like, trying to be an actual supervillain. She has been distraught by these comments. I'm questioning whether or not I've done the right thing. But to quote Macbeth, like, shut the hell up, dude. No one is, like, an English nerd like you are. Like, you're a fucking dork. This guy needs to be, like, shoved down a toilet and get swirlied. To quote Macbeth, I feel so far stepped in blood that to go back would be harder than to go forward. So I doubled down and made 8 more fake profiles. I only can laugh at this point because of how much of a disaster this would be if it was real. Like, I can't muster any anger because this guy, like, the way it's written, he's like a super villain from a Marvel movie. Like, relax, dude. Keeping up with her comments has negatively affected both hers and mine own effectiveness at work because she's constantly in a bad mood and I'm constantly distracted by refreshing Reddit for new comments. Dude, that if it's negatively affecting you, then stop. However, her grammar is marginally improved. I've noticed my coworkers do not seem to stand in groups of 3 or 4 at the water cooler and point at her anymore between sips of coffee. So this is like either so fake, or the guy is so delusional and scared and insecure about the way his wife acts around other people that he is becoming paranoid and assuming that like the VP stopped talking after his wife started laughing, or that people are like looking at her and pointing at her, or it's just completely fake. So while my plan seems to have worked to some extent, I feel like I've done something terrible. Should I tell her the truth of the matter? Should I increase the fake profiles to 16? Definitely fake. It's gotta be fake. I'm running out of additional ideas for new email addresses. I guess most importantly, am I the asshole? For clarification, I love my wife and stand by her in pretty much every other aspect of our marriage. To those asking, why did you marry her if you don't like her accent? Please remember, we both had the same accent as the time of marriage, and I didn't think about it until we moved. You are likely reading too far into the other aspects of our marriage if you think this post extends beyond me simply making fake profiles and encouraging her. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I need judgment passed on whether it was right to pose as internet strangers and criticize my wife's grammar in an attempt to improve it. Yeah, I think it may have made me the asshole since it seems to have really hurt her feelings, but it also seems to have been effective. This guy said, let me get this straight. You're online stalking and harassing your wife because she's failing to speak her right in a way that is grammatically pleasing to you. Find a new hobby. This one's awful. And he responded and said, I don't know if it's a hobby as much as helping with character development, if that makes sense. Like, the grammar has improved, but it's at the cost of her happiness. It's a catch-22 in my opinion. It's pretty hilarious. Like, it's goofy, but it's so there's a small chance that he's just super delusional, but I really doubt it. I think it's probably just completely fake, which is kind of just as weird. I'm not even American, but your tone is more ignorant than any accent I've heard. Guess you've never met a French person. The Macbeth quote is steeped in blood, not stepped in blood. Your 5th paragraph does not make consistent use of verb tense. Just encouraging you. Mine own. Your grammar and punctuation are genuinely terrible. Sorry, I was being less formal since it's Reddit. But he corrected his wife's grammar on Reddit, though. It's fake. It's gotta be fake.